We are live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just looking at my mic. Every time I move my mic, I forgot we got to kind of keep it as it goes, starts moving by itself.
Oh, it
It's,
is.
it's got a little ghost in the machine.
Well, it is a ghost show, right?
It is Rachel's
Ghost
Ghost.
too.
I'm Rachel's Ghost. Hi, children. Anyway, welcome aboard, Blake. We got good news. A lot of good news coming in from the administration. Trumpy Bear, my beloved Trumpy Bear seems to be right again. So a lot of stories to get into. We'll whet our appetites on from the sublime to the ridiculous. Let's look in on this is Strait of Hormuz. Of course, gas prices are up. This sort of thing. So we got a lot of good news in that department. But anyway, I'll play a few, and then we'll get on board with this. Okay, here's the first one. I'll make it bigger so that we can follow. But there's problems here, as you can see, with the there's justice for the gays of Hormuz. So we're going to look into this story right away because this is in the news. Hormuz Strait. Let's go.
Isn't it a little bit homophobic that we're so focused on the Straits of Hormuz and not the gays of Hormuz?
Yes, I agree. Yes, for sure.
Why do you think they're willing to leave the gays of Hormuz behind?
I think it's just historically, gays have always been very discriminated against, which is wrong on so many levels.
Even in war.
Yeah, even in war. It just takes more reform in government, obviously, and then also educating society.
I just feel like if we're going to go in there, we can't leave the gay people behind.
Right,
I don't think we should go in there at all, but if we're going to, the gays of Hormuz, we could turn it into Fire Island.
For sure.
Isn't it a little bit homophobic that we're so focused on the Straits of Hormuz?
Okay, the Straits of Hormuz. Holy smokes. Of course, this is all about what is happening with NATO and Hormuz.
No Kings protests.
Yeah, so I'll just share this one with you. Breaking huge uplift in vehicle traffic through the Strait of Hormuz today. The regime has lost control, and there's this is land. So the white part is sea or water here, and so there's traffic occurring. So when that happens, good things occur. And what happens? Well, this happens. Boom. Trump's plan is working. U.S. stocks are surging. Oil prices are crashing as word spreads that Iran war tensions are easing fast. Trump has a plan. Trust the plan. I'll pause it here, re-spin it so that for our collective edification, we can hear that good news is happening. Prices going down, stock market going up. Here we go. Hey, by the way, Sue, how about our own car filling up? Have you filled it up yet? Okay, so you may find it slower at the
looking at the American stock market is fair to say surging. It's up 933 points right now. This as oil prices are dropping, just down about 1% or $1. Let's bring in Wall Street Journal editor-at-large and Fox News contributor Jerry Baker. So there's Wall Street Journal reporting about President Trump wanting to stick to the timeline to end this war, even if it means not completely opening the Strait of Hormuz. It's past the hour now, and you're looking.
Okay, so stock market up, oil prices down, and I want this. I got so many good ones for us here. Share this instead. Regime change official. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth has confirmed regime change has occurred in Iran. Let's scroll it back. Let's play it from the beginning. Here we go. Regime change has occurred.
The new Iranian regime should know that by now. This new regime, because regime change has occurred, should be wiser than the last. President Trump will make a deal he is willing, and the terms of the deal are known to them. If Iran is not willing, then the United States War Department will continue with even more intensity.
Okay, and that's pretty much all you need to know. The new regime, the old regime's gone, so behave yourselves. You have an opportunity, or we're going to kick your asses, basically. And of course, they got their underground, one of their big underground missile cities. They call it a city. Did you see the film of that with the fireball and blowing the hell out of it? Unbelievable. It was incredible.
Well, I just want to say, I mean, technically, there's been a regime change every day So
Jeez.
it's like,
Whoa.
we
Whoa.
announced this guy. Boom.
Too
this guy.
soon?
Boom.
Yeah, too soon. You're absolutely right. The last one they showed, the youngest son, he looks, can you say retarded? It just, I don't know. He doesn't look mentally all there. Anyway, I don't know what's going on with the youngest one of the Khomeinis, but that's what we're looking at now. They've gone through them all, and we're down to the last child to be the current leader of for whatever's happening. You know what I'm concerned about? I want the killing of the innocent people, the people of Iran, the Persian people. I don't want to see any of those people killed anymore. I think there's, so, it's one thing to work on the global political of all this and oil, who's controlling oil and who's got a nuclear warhead or not. But really, I mean, let's stop throwing the gays off the buildings. Let's stop, all this kind of nonsense. So, if somebody doesn't like the government putting them to death and stuff, what do you think this is? Canada?
Yeah, that's right.
So,
100%.
anyway, so your thoughts, the oil prices, the panicins, great news from what I'm seeing. I think, and things are coming very close to an end in this conflict. Trump definitely has a timeline. The markets are responding to it, and and Trump put out this absolutely amazing. I guess I should do this. This is probably the biggest tweet of the day you're going to, or post. I don't like to use tweet. In fact, I don't like using tweet because it's no longer Twitter. It's the X platform. I honor Elon, who saved free speech by creating X. Have you been talking to the Japanese, Blake? Those guys are a lot of fun.
No, I haven't. I actually, be honest, I've only been, in the last few days, I've been watching X. I haven't been posting much, just sharing a bit, but I have not been able to connect with the new translating tool to connect with others, but I should. I saw a few today.
They are so funny, and boy, oh boy, we're so tame over here because we kind of gauge our speech and self-censor. They're doing stuff where most of my responses are, I could comment on this, but since I live in Canada, and then Homer Simpson goes slowly back in the bushes. I mean, the stuff they are coming out with. Our good friend Ron Beaudry is here, a good friend of the channel. One of the justifications for going in with the current leadership just killed 35,000 protesters for not liking the government. Yeah, that has to end. Whoever comes in and runs the joint after, because, Khomeini and 1, 2, and now they're on number 3 or 4. Those guys, I don't care who's running it, just no more killing of the people. Stop the killing now. Do it now, as John Lennon said. But the president coming in with Truth Social was absolutely amazing. I love this thing. You know where I'm going with this one. Okay, nail in the coffin of NATO. Trump warned you. All those countries that can't get jet fuel because of Strait of Hormuz, like the United Kingdom, which refused to get involved in the decapitation of Iran, I got a suggestion for you. Number 1, buy from the United States of America. We got plenty. And number 2, build up some delayed courage to go to the Strait. In other words, grow a pair and just take the Strait. It's there, yours for the taking. You'll have to start learning how to fight for yourself. The USA won't be there to help you anymore, just like you weren't there for us. Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part's done. Go get your own oil. You might have said, go get your own damn oil. President Donald John Trump. In other words, USA won't be there to help you anywhere, just like you weren't there for us. Holy smokes, this has got to be the single most important post coming across the wire today. It looks to me like the final nail in the NATO coffin, that NATO is useless. It doesn't support the United States at all. They aren't carrying their fair share. That includes Canada, which is a joke and a half. So let's get rid of NATO. Trump's got his own new board of freedom.
Board of Peace, isn't it?
Board of Peace is at the Board of Peace. And Trump's creating alternate realities, alternatives to the status quo. The power punch is going right to England. Also, I've got to show you this one too. This I started reading into this one right away. Let me pull this up. It just occurred to me, and I didn't pull it up earlier. It came direct from the White House, and the verbiage was, I think, significant and almost a telegraph cryptic. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. And they even made a bigger deal of it in another post, but I'll just go. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Holy smokes. Let me share this. This is direct from the White House, Blake. Check this out. Boom. President Trump announces their majesties, the King and Queen of the United Kingdom, will visit the United States for a, quote, historic state visit. Okay, this is amazing. He's calling it a historic visit. Now, they've been there before, so why is he calling it? Why is the White House on this calling it a historic visit? I have my suspicions as to why this may be a historic visit.
How about this? Real no kings moment is happening. Real no kings.
All right. Well, you tell me what the hell does that mean? England's got their king as King Charles coming to visit.
Because he is the king. He is the monarch. Even people try to paint it as being nothing more than a figurehead, part of their constitutional monarchy. But no, the king is valid, is still the king of England, still controlling the interests of the financial elite that have been running out of the city of London for hundreds of years. And really, I think this could be the capitulation meeting. Like, we're no longer going to be part of this fight anymore, and England's falling apart, and there's a new world order that's being established. It's a multipolar world. It is not a world dominated by the globalists running out of England, running out of the WF in Europe. The EU and King Charles is going to have to bend a knee. I think this is about a time that they finally surrender, because I think the Strait of Hormuz was a choke point and they're losing, right? And that was the part that the colonial powers that have been running it for hundreds of years. We saw the Lloyds of London story, weren't going to insure the ships. Trump said, fine, we'll insure the ships. You guys go through. And let's call it for what it was. Khomeini was put into power by Europeans. He was sitting in Paris, remember? Hiding out in Paris before he was flown back there and dropped in to run Iran. And let's just say who was running Iran. The globalists. They love the destabilization, the shakedown of people paying fees to get in and out of that. The biggest choke point for oil in the world. And I'm saying a choke point because it was a toll booth, essentially. You had to pay to play to get through there, and you paid Iran, you paid England through Lloyds of London, and that's how you went through. If you didn't have that license, you didn't have that insurance, you didn't do the payola thing, your ship didn't get through. You wouldn't be insured, and magically bomb, or you would run into a mine by accident, or something like that would happen, or even Somali pirates might try and invade your ship. So the point is, all of this is coming to a collapse. And I think this is England. I think Trump is saying, we are no longer a vassal state, your big bully brother that you want me to go out and beat up all your foes in the world. That's finished. We're no longer a colony, even though you still view us as a colony. We are a separate country. We are a republic. We are on our own. We are MAGA. We've made America great again. We broke away in 1776. We're not being drawn back into your new world order that was trying to be orchestrated through the WF and your public control of that side. So I think this is huge, because Keir Starmer is falling apart. And I think Trump's pressure has stopped their goal to take over the world.
There's also the Commonwealth to consider, because Canada, we got great news out of Alberta. They reached the was it 177,000 signatures they needed? That has been achieved in that province, right? Yeah. And so that gives a green light for the referendum. Polymarket, I believe I've got a thing for us here, Blake. Polymarket is in suggesting that there's something like a 60% chance. Yeah, I got the link on that here for you. So I'm wondering if Canada is going to be on in the discussions. Let me make this again just a little larger. So breaking Canadian liberation is at hand, Benny John said. I wish it was. We don't know. It's too early to say, but Polymarket breaking Alberta now projected to schedule a referendum to secede from Canada this year. There is a 60% chance that referendum vote
won't happen.
Will they schedule a referendum to leave Canada before? It's that 60% right now. Are you going against Polymarket, Blake? What's going on? Okay.
Polymarket doesn't understand what's going on, and a lot of people are already raising a lot of red flags about the whole referendum question, because it looks like between the government of Alberta, which I'm a supporter of Danielle Smith. I think she's done a great job, but she is there still acting like she should be all in behind the referendum. She should be all in, which I think she's playing both sides. And the globalists that are running Mark Carney's world of liberal Canada, they have made it that this is going to be a 3-year process. It's step 1, step 2, step 3, and it's like 3 steps to actually get there.
Yeah.
And so they're going to give them 3 years. Apparently, that's the time frame. Even if they vote in this referendum is going to be like Brexit. It's going to be, people will vote, and I think they'll support it. So they'll be correct. Yeah, we're done. They'll want to leave. And basically, then they go to the next stage, which is some kind of extra vote. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, they'll just put it off. And
then the third one is the final one. But because there's court action and other stuff that's all being laid out by the government and the globalists through their
playing
assets
marbles
on the ground.
Yeah, it's like playing marbles with the school bully. You shoot the bully takes a shot. Oh, he missed. Hang on, I wanted to do over.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed. Hangover, do-over.
Best 3 out of 5.
I win.
Yeah.
Oh, I collect your marbles. I win all the
best
marbles.
out of 7. Oh, let's go best out of 9. Best out
exactly.
of, they'll just keep going and they'll just keep going. But the problem is that the Liberal Party of Canada, which is a corrupt and fascist government, soft fascism, if you want to call them, moving towards hard fascism, especially with all the legislation to strip Canadians of their rights, their free speech, and to invade their space. Apparently can now, through a new bill, will be able to go into backdoor access into your phone when you don't even know it, and any of your electronics.
Yeah, no freedom up here. We know.
Oh that. Yeah, it's a joke. But the fact is that they'll just swamp Alberta with newcomers. That's what they'll do, and give them instant voting privileges. And I think that's the problem. Danielle Smith needs to stand up, but I agree. I think the majority of Albertans today are ready to go. And there's an election coming federally, and I think they're trying to drag it out. They'll cheat.
Isn't Carney, there's some kind of early signs that he wants to prorogue Parliament. So shut Parliament down for a little while, just so take the heat off whatever the hell's going on. Okay,
the China scandal, right? With Ma.
So I guess there's a lot of heat with China right now. Canada completely compromised, and we got another story. We got China a little bit. We'll go back to that one. How about this? How about the new leader of the NDP wants to get rid of oil completely from Canada? What's your thoughts on that? First of all, for our American friends, who the hell are the NDP? What's an NDP?
Well, the New Democratic Party is not really new. They've been around for over 50 some odd years when they were the CCF and then converted over to the New Democratic Party in the 1960s.
Are they a big thing in Canada? Are they a big party?
Well, I think they had an opportunity at one point under Jack Layton. They became official opposition, but after that, they are a rump. I think they're down to 5 seats left they're basically irrelevant in the federal sphere because the Liberal Party has enveloped everything that they stood for.
So is Canada
them? They're like the Borg, right? They just suck them all in.
Well, I want to.
But they're a far left, progressive Marxist organization. They're run by the progressive unions, primarily public sector unions.
Is Canada a 2-party system like Democrats and Republicans, or are we different?
We are a multi-party system that also includes independents if you want, but independents rarely win. But yeah, we are now in a multi-party system that cobbles together, much like European governments or Israel. You have these multiple parties that have to create minority governments, cobble together support from other
and
parties to keep in
coalition,
power.
right? Like a left, you'll get a leftist coalition. So
the NDP was in coalition with Trudeau for a long time because Trudeau
prop him up, right?
He was propped up, and I'm talking about Trudeau Jr., Justin. He was, working with the NDP to get policies through because they were eye to eye, right? When you listen to the cultural Marxist philosophies that these guys pushed out, and I'm talking Maoism, these guys believed in Mao, and so they worked together, voting all this crap through from 2015 onwards. And apparently, we're now seeing the signs of the Chinese infiltration, how it's been working for a long time now. But yeah, that's exactly who the NDP are. They've gone from what used to be a blue collar unionist kind of group of hardworking, coal miners, loggers, miners of all types, people working in industry, et cetera, et cetera. Not so much government services union, but they've gone full government. They've abandoned everybody else. They're 100% the government public sector workers union and the educational areas. They've dominated. Of course, that's where Marxists go. They want to infect your children with all.
Well, same thing in America do. All the universities, the school systems, the education. You see the gay flags and the trans agenda and all that crap.
Cultural Marxism, and that's what the NDP is. And they do have power in some senses. Like in British Columbia, they run British Columbia under David Eby. They got Wab Kinew out of he's Manitoba.
That guy's awful.
And they hold opposition status in Alberta and Saskatchewan, and I think in some of the Maritimes as well. They're not far behind, but generally those other provinces are liberal conservative.
It's almost like I think I like the way you describe it. We're kind of like a two-party system in so much that only the conservatives or the liberals tend to form a government in Canada. We've never had an NDP government over the whole nation. On the federal level. So it's kind of similar, but there's more players here that can upset the apple cart and prop up one party or the other. It always props up the left and not the right. But,
and the lunatics have chased away the NDP's base. Like the NDP.
Okay, hold on. Now here's where we get a lot of fun because, why should we talk about the lunacy when we can kind of depict. They just had their leadership, as Ron Beaudry was mentioning in the comments that said the new leader. In fact, they did appoint a new leader. We had Jagmeet Singh. He is no longer in office. I have
theories about him too.
Yeah, so, he's a bit of a character.
But let's a liberal plant, 100%.
Let's take a look at what happened at the convention so people get a sense of what's going on here with these NDP kids. All right, there's this is kind of fun. Now, this is a lot of you are going to think this is a parody, but it's the real deal. Far left Canadians start arguing over equity cards at 2026 NDP leadership convention. Well, rather than let that explain it, let's just make it a little smaller. So
you should put a little black mustache underneath her nose. I mean, she kind of looks like that. Kind of Hitler-esque. Female Hitler.
Oh my God! Well,
non-binary Hitler. Non-binary Hitler.
Let's not assume gender, Blake, please. All right, here we go.
There's a point of privilege on microphone 1, then we'll go to microphone 3. Go ahead, delegate.
Yes. Hello. I was standing here with my gender equity card before you called on the previous speaker. That's my point of privilege that I would like to raise.
I will explain the speaking order, which is fixed, that I cannot amend, which is the pro-con rotation. You can move yourself up a line that you're standing in.
I am pro, and I was...
We went...
You went pro, con...
We went pro-con, pro, and my plan was to go con. The speaker at con mic 3 also has a speaking card.
Yesterday, this card was used in an inappropriate manner. And while I understand in Ontario we know this is equity, even if that, this was also used inappropriately in terms of gender. I want everyone to be mindful that these cards for individuals like myself who identify as a Black woman have no value outside of this space.
Imagine her
Oh, there's more.
identify as a black woman. Now we got one more for you, just because we want you to enjoy the whole show. So we're going to go this one here. Here we go. Now, tensions surface. Tensions are surfacing at Democrat Socialist Conference. Let's go big. They all got their little kafafis, which is incredible. Okay, let's go and see how we get on with part 2 from our little friend here.
Microphone 2, are you on this resolution?
Yes.
Microphone 2, please.
My name is Mastura Tasneem. My pronouns are she, they. I'm from Ontario. Hello, bonjour. As we conduct this convention today and the past 2 days, right now there's discussions of 10,000 American men and women being sent to Iran, being deployed just to be part of this bloodbath. Canada cannot and will not be part of the legacy of blood that was built in Iraq, in Palestine, and now in Iran. This is a no-question debate. I call this question, Madam and Chairs. Thank you.
No question.
All right. Okay.
Your point's quite well made, Speaker. I'll again thank delegates not to call me Madam Chair or Madame la Présidente. I'm a non-binary person. My pronouns are they, them, and their. Chair is sufficient.
Yay!
The non-binary Adolf.
And with regret, you've spoken to the resolution. It's not open to you to also call the question. If the question is the will of the House, someone else must call it because we heard from you in substantive debate.
Okay, I was not aware.
Weird rule. Microphone 4.
Yes, thank you. My name is Fred Farhad Sufi.
Okay, Fred Parkapuki. So, I mean, it's nonsensical. And, but it gives the people at home that are not used to looking in on Canadian politics. But essentially, the NDP represents kind of the most extreme elements of the Democrat Party. Because you've got Democrats, middle of the road Democrats that Fetterman in Pennsylvania. There's a lot of common ground with Fetterman, and Fetterman recognizes that a lot of his base, he's in a more conservative leaning area, jobs and
blue collar workers,
focus more on the stuff that makes sense rather than this nonsense out in left field, about flags and covfefes and all the rest of it, right? But Blake, you and I, it's not just the left that have their extremism and their lunatics. And so we're going to take, and for us, it's kind of a rare look at some of the extremes of our own side of the equation. Now, Blake and I both identify as Christian people, and we're veterans of the very. I mean, we've been Christians for quite a while. I think Blake, when did you come to the Lord for your salvation?
94? So
94, I think it was
ago,
94, right around Tidelines time for you and me.
Yeah, just before that, just literally 2 weeks before Tidelines.
Yeah, because I remember we had a nice talk back then. And then for myself, my own testimony is I became a Christian around 1978, 79, probably 78. Yeah, 20. I would have been 1978. I was out of school. Okay, so interesting stuff. 1978 for me. There's in the 1980s, there was a thing. We had Jimmy Swaggart, we had Jim and Tammy Baker, we had and we still have to some extent some of the who's the mouth of the South, Positive Confession, all that sort of thing. You'll know
Billy Graham.
Not Billy Graham. Billy Graham's legit. He's a good guy. We like.
Oh, you're talking about the dancing wild.
No, just Ernest Ainsley. Can you slip?
Oh yeah, Ernest
Ainsley. Benny Hinn with stacks of prayers. Send the things in. And basically, it was called a prosperity gospel. If you're not making money, you're in sin. And the whole thing was about money. It was extravagant. It was over the top. And so we got this, and MJ Ultra was all over this today, and I think it should be seen. We got to clean up our own mess too, right? Before we pull the beam out of our brother's eye. We'll make this a little bit bigger. MJ Truth Ultra, I agree 100% with this post. I'm sorry, but Paula White has to go. She's exactly what gives Christians a bad name. If I were a lost soul looking for answers, seeking God, and she is who I discarded, I would run away very fast. With that said, who should be President Trump's White House spiritual advisor? And she is actually Trump's spiritual advisor. Let's watch her go into action. Obviously, even I'm as MAGA as they come. I love President Trump. I so support him 100%. The only thing I can think of is he's put this woman out so that she can be exposed for everybody to see. But I don't mind putting a little heat on. Bear with us. It's 1:40. Let's play her through.
Strike and strike and strike and strike and strike and strike and strike until you have victory. For every enemy that is aligned against you, let there be that we would strike the ground, for you will give us victory, God. I hear a sound of abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of shouting and singing. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of an abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of an abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. The Lord says it is done. The Lord says it is done. The Lord says it is done. For I hear victory, 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 victory in the corridors of heaven. In the corridors of heaven, victory, 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 victory. For angels are being released right now. Angels are being dispatched right now. Hamanda aka ata raka teda baka sanda ata ambo osa kata rite eke banda ata rike didi asha.
Okay, so that's pretty grieving. Like my spirit, my Christian, the essence of my belief is revulsed by what I see there. I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
And so I get a huge check on it going, this is error.
Fraud,
as much as she's going, you got to go and get the thing. I'm going error. Like it was like Will Robinson, a little space robot danger, Will Robinson danger.
That's right.
Holy crap.
But that's part of that's part of that Southern Pentecostal tradition, right?
It is. She's doing a lot of that with the breathing and the and we need and I hear is anyone going to go and get me somebody okay, so keep going on this, Blake. Well, I get another clip of her.
I saw her doing something where she's blowing people over, and I just like this. This is right out of the old Vineyard Church kind of drop and squirm on the floor like a worm and doing the wiggle dance. So but a lot of that stuff has been proven to be fake. People psychologically either have plants in the crowd, or you've got people who are just desperate for attention and get caught up in the wave. They're desperate because when you come to Jesus, you're usually on your knees, right? That's kind of how it works.
You know what I would argue, Blake? That's pretty much the only way to come to Jesus. You drop to your knees, man. You have to.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things I ever did personally, emotionally, psychologically myself, I have a lot of pride, it's just kind of the way I'm built, like so many others. But I had to get on my knees. It was the hardest thing I ever did was to get on my knees and go, I'm a sinner. I'm wrong. You're right. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Somebody on X platform today put out a post and Japan's opened up. Elon Musk doing amazing work. And the person said, where is God? Like I pray, I do the thing. And I said, you have a promise from God. God says, Jesus said, he who has my commandments, keepeth them. It is that loveth me, and he that loves me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love them, and I will manifest myself to them. You actually have the promise of Jesus himself saying, I'll reveal myself to you, but you've got to keep my commandments. And what are the commandments? Love your neighbor as yourself and love the Lord thy God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. You give it all to the Lord. You give yourself totally to the Lord, and then he will respond. It's a miraculous thing. It's the greatest thing. And I encourage anybody who hasn't done this and you're seeking for answers in your life, definitely do that. I got one more for Paula, Blake, for your perusal. And I won't play it all, but you'll get the gist of it. Okay. Here she is in action again. This at a recent rally, apparently. Here we go.
How many of you want to be a blessing? Because I'm telling you, there's an anointing of release right now. I want $100,000 to come in. I want $100,000. There are 10 people that could give $10,000. There's 100 people that could give $1,000. Get a check, make it payable to Paula White Ministry. There are people that are watching right now. If you say, I don't have it, give $100. Bring up a sacrificial seed. This isn't for me. This is about kids that will die without you being obedient. This is about kids who are...
Okay, so it's very low quality in terms of the audio, so I apologize for that. But basically what she's doing is she's saying, give me $100,000. There's an envelope here, and you may have 1,000, you may have 10,000, but it's the Bible warns about a cloak of covetousness, a cloak of covetousness. Well, I'm happy to announce that Blake and I are both, and you people watching, I'm sure, are able to see right through that cloak of covetousness. Why do you need a cloak of covetousness? Because you're hiding it. It's a cloak. It's a covering of you're coveting, you're greedy, you want money, it's avarice, you want all that, but you're covering it in a cloak of supposed spirituality. Help the kids will die unless I get your money and make your check payable. Whoa, to me? To Jesus? Yeah. No. I'd respect it more if she said, please make a payment to Jesus, pay it out to Jesus, payable to the Lord Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's horrible. It's a shame. And it's up to the church to criticize, to call. We're the church. You're the church. We're doing it right now on this program. We're calling it out as BS. And I want to thank Kimba, who mentioned Kenneth Copeland. That was the name I was speaking.
Yeah.
Kenneth Copeland
was a wild
is
guy.
a very egregious character on the prosperity gospel. The same kind of thing. Oral Roberts with the university, all the money that went in there.
Who's the guy with the glass?
Oh, Glass Cathedral. Yeah, that was
LA.
Reverend Robert Schuller.
Yeah.
His doctrine, he was actually a devotee of Joseph, was it Vincent Peale, the positive thinker, philosopher. And so Schuller's doctrine wasn't really even Christian. It was more of a psychic expression of think positively, more New Age influence.
Very LA.
Yeah. No wonder it was in Orange County, right? The thing was based in Orange
Where all the
County.
wealth, a lot of rich people.
Yeah. So it really behooves us, be wise as serpents, the Bible says, harmless as a dove. And the old Q drops said basically, be careful who you follow.
Yeah.
I think Jesus would say the same thing. Be careful who you follow. Not everyone who says, it does this in my name or this in my name is actually, representing me. And so discernment is important to have. And I would pray, and my hope for the people watching this program is that your discernment is exercised to recognize. But obviously it's concerning for me as a big Trump fan, that she's his spiritual advisor. A Trumpy Bear, you got to do better. And now, and possibly further to that, who the hell recommended this idiot, this Paula White person, to Trump as a quote spiritual advisor?
Well, not
healthy, right?
I don't think you can look at it in spiritual terms of what she's representing in the administration. I think she was tapped because look at her audience. And when you look at her crowd, who are all there, there's a huge percentage of Black people there, right? So this is for voting. Let's call it for what it is. The political activist types that are always organizing and trying to count votes and get the vote out and all that. They need people to bring in certain segments of the vote out.
I assume she would be bringing in Republican votes then in this case.
Republican, but also Black voters. You look at the videos. I was watching a whole bunch of videos. Most of the people, when you look at the crowd, are Black churchgoers, and maybe less than half are other races and white, right? Mixed, but basically a high percentage of Black voters. Lots of Blacks are probably more connected to church now than whites, because white liberals have basically walked away from the church historically now. And
Yeah,
I think
society is
in
becoming
huge numbers.
increasingly secular, right?
Whereas the black church has maintained a strong connection to their churches.
Yeah, I would
and
argue in
continue to
part
do that.
because of the exploitation of victim mentality, the slavery question that takes us back to the 1860s, the Emancipation Proclamation by Abraham Lincoln. Slavery's been gone for a long, long time, but because of certain political interests that want to keep black people downtrodden and thinking of themselves as being discriminated against, racially profiled, the cops, the George Floyd mentality of the world. So it can play into that. And so you need Jesus because nothing else is going to help you. You're a victim of the man. And, this kind of language, right?
Well, and I think what, the politics side of it is she, as a spiritual advisor, out the door, right? And I think that should be an easy no-brainer. But the fact that she's probably got, and I don't know her entire connection to the church and how big she is and how many devotees does she have to her movement there, but the fact is that if it's large, it could be millions of voters, right? And the voters they want to connect with, that may, because that's the thing, the Democrats do exploit the black church. They do all the time. They've been doing it. How many times have we seen videos of Democratic leaders, white Democrat leaders like Hillary Clinton going to a black church,
terrific,
and it's just it is horrific to watch her change her language and her vocal tones to sound like a black leader in a church. And we've seen what's her name, Alexandra AOC do the same thing, and it's just so fake. But that's where they target, and that's the issue. So I think that it's probably more of a political decision why she's there, because she brings numbers to vote, right? So and
I don't know about you, but my mammy had me praying every day. Yeah, it's all that routine. All right.
But I think we'll see what happens, but you're right. They need to clean that up. I mean, people have a right to believe what they want to believe in, and the Constitution is for those people. But Trump, clean that up, please. That's an embarrassment to all of us that support what you're trying to do. Is maybe just get somebody who's more centered and on stable ground. I don't know, JD Vance, he's a Christian, maybe he can say something.
Yeah, boy, oh boy.
Come on, Trump, let's bring somebody else in. It's like,
all right, here's so there's the negative. Here's some more good news. I love sharing the good news stories. This is another good one. Breaking and a huge win, Mercedes-Benz announcing they are opening up a $4 billion investment into Alabama manufacturing plant to ease its tariff burden and surge production. Once again, the experts suffer a stunning loss and Trump wins again. It turns out that tariffs work. And this is just a wonderful thing. So there's the president. He shows up. He goes down to Alabama and he says, folks, we're going to open up a plant there. So we're seeing this. This is production being brought back into America. When I was at university, Blake, they were teaching us about the manufacturing age is over. And we're now in the information age.
That's right.
And in other words, so they create a doctrine, they create a sociological paradigm to explain our world, but really it's justification they destroy our means of production, and then they go in and give it a fancy word to explain in their thinking that this is just a natural process of Western civilization, that we've moved from a merchandising creativity sphere. We're actually producing things into an information processing area. And this is what we do now. And of course, there's no money in that.
Yeah.
What we're learning is there's no money if you're an information process.
Well, look at all what our universities are pumping out right now. These are unemployable morons.
Yeah.
Essentially, they come out and they've been saturated and indoctrinated, but essentially the information age was a blank check for universities to expand the reach. Remember, we went from getting degrees to Well, now you'll have continuing education. That was the terminology that came out in the 1990s, that this continuing education, you'd never escape the grip of universities and colleges trying to suck your wallet dry, and that essentially you'll have continuing education. You'll always have to be educating yourself, which is another word for indoctrination. Outside of, we talk about the information age, like this is why we have this insanity within this political class, and it is an insanity. Their supporters are insane. They're not rooted in anything real. As you said, they've stripped the ability of people to produce their own production locally. And they've handed it off offshore. It's kind of like they've become the lunatic crowd from the old movie Zardoz. I'm going back there with Sean Connery with his pretty wild outfit.
Yeah, he's got a cute little outfit.
But you remember they had gone all in on their culture, and to the point of insanity. They were living forever, and he kind of, the outside world, the real world, eventually caught up with them and put them out of their misery. But essentially that's what they've done. And you're right. We've gone from this time where you would be hoping that you would go out with this, any idea you wanted to do was a possibility, on your own, not going to the government, say, I need a subsidy to go do this. I need money from the government to do that. It was dream what you wanted to dream. Go talk to other people that you meet in the world. Maybe they'll invest in you. Maybe you'll go build it. Maybe you're an engineer. You'll design something new. And the free market world would churn those ideas out. Bad ones would lose. Good ones would move
corruption
forward.
is, Blake, too, and the insidious nature of it all is that, like, we just had the new NDP leader give his acceptance speech. It's funny they chose a straight white male. They could have gone with one of the characters in the outfits. That would have been more fun in politics. Can you imagine, like, Chicken Lady or somebody like that? Remember Kids in the Hall? This came out of my body. As kind of like guy's eating an egg and she has a date. Chicken Lady. It came from my body. But get one of these freaks to actually lead the party. I mean, the most representative of all, rainbow flag, funny hair, big ears, whatever you want to play with. Just run with it. And maybe that would be a more honest expression of lunatic left. But they know when you look like that, you're not going to get what you want done. But this plays into their hands when you have no productivity. Now everybody starts going hungry. They can't make ends meet. They have no prosperity. Well, what do? The commies come along and go, don't worry. We're going to create a government-run grocery store. We're going to create government housing for you. We're going to create, in other words, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy because we're going to take care of all that for you. All you need to do is get in line, shut your mouth, and just utter what we want you to utter. If you don't, then there's going to be severe penalties for you on our handy social credit score. And so absolute control, it's communism, it's dictatorial, as Blake, you like to say, it's fascism, because the controls, the mechanisms of control are so pronounced. But it really does play into their hands. Once the economy collapses, they go, no problem. We're here to pull you out of trouble by printing more money, and we're going to make government subsidized housing, but it's going to cost you rich people something, you middle class, which we'll deem rich. And so that's not going to be good for you. You're going to help. You know what I'm saying? It all boils down to the lowest common denominator. It doesn't bring the poor by their bootstraps and bring them into the middle class. It lowers the middle class till we're all, now, aren't we all miserable? Well done. Well, my work here is done, says little Tommy, and goes.
It's funny because they never, the idea that socialism, they always try to hide. They say, well, no, I'm a socialist.
I'm not a communist. I'm a
socialist. It's the same thing, folks. It doesn't matter. You're expecting the government and you're trying to enforce morality and donation through the government, which used to be simply by donation was by the gift of your own heart. You would decide as an individual where you wanted to give your money. And a lot of hospitals, for example, had huge amounts of donations to them before, I'm talking about Canada.
Yeah.
They were they were private hospitals run through charities, and people used to give. And when I've talked to people who used to work in those in years ago, most of them have died now, but they told me that nobody was denied healthcare and nobody was given big bills in Canada at the end of this day. There was charity run hospitals. That's how it was. And the part they didn't like, a lot of them were connected to churches, right? And that's, I think the communists came in and said, no, we want to take it all over. And this is what they do. And then they run it into the ground. And there's no communist socialist society that can put their hand in the air and say, we have successfully created the wealthiest country, the best countries on earth, right? And that's the problem, telling people that, hey, well, they're living well, but 60% of their taxes are going to us, and that's how they do it. Like, I love how they kind of point to Norwegian, or some of the countries in Scandinavia.
They always point Scandinavia.
Yeah, and I'm going, well, the difference between those countries is highly, highly nationalistic, highly tribal in the sense that these were Vikings essentially. And their society is on in a very small area. In Norway, for example, they always point to Norway. Norway lives off their oil royalties. They have a small population that gets a huge benefit off their oil.
I think they're 5 million people or something.
Well, yeah, and they nationalized it, right? It's the size of British Columbia population-wise, but country size, nowhere near the size of British Columbia. But they have massive oil reserves that funds through their royalty program, much like Alberta was doing. But that's about the bare bones. You have essentially a crony capitalist society in that case. So you now have this national private public partnerships, which then gets you into that fascist area where the unions and the corporations unify through government, through legislation, and run the whole show, where there is no private sector anymore. There isn't anybody competing anymore. You have legislated monopolies. So that's where these guys go. And that's what they end up destroying. They go to that level, right? They start off, well, we're just bringing in healthcare. We're just bringing in this. And we're just doing a little dabbling here and there to help people.
Kind of thing.
But it just keeps getting bigger. And universities, right? Well, let's do free education for all. Let's do all this. Let's do all that. It just goes wider and wider and wider to the point you become Cuba. There's nothing left. Cuba had the hard revolution like Russia did. Violent by warfare. But the cultural Marxists, we're talking Mao-style cultural revolution, is what they're pushing on us. That's why they're all Mao fans. This is why I call them Maple Maoists here in Canada, is because they're Maoists. They're not the Stalinists. They're not the Leninists. They're not the iron fist with guns in your hand shooting people yet, though China's not far off from that. They killed 60 million people through their revolution.
Yeah, let's change course for a little bit. Just got a little smattering. I got a lot of stuff going. More Christianity in the news. In Canada, Christianity under fire for Bill C-9, because you can get in trouble here for speaking. Say you use a Bible passage and you're against gay marriage, for example. Yeah, and maybe you may be sincere in that belief, which I would be sincere in that belief. This is what we believe. It's part and parcel of the tenets of belief. But right now, we've got an American situation where it's taken the form of censoring in this individual's occupation, but it doesn't result in jail time. In Canada, this is where it gets really interesting, Blake. So would this individual possibly be facing jail time in Canada? And here's the story. I don't know if you're up on this one. This is kind of a breaking story. I'll make it bigger. I love this so much. Juanita Broderick, alleged rape victim of Bill Clinton. I love this so much. Thank you, Trayvon. Breaking: New England Patriot star running back Trayvon Henderson has come out and supported Jaden Ivey. Ivey was waived by the Bulls after he gave Christian-based criticism of the NBA's Pride Month. So the NBA is all doing colors and they've got all their gay stuff going. And I guess he had some criticisms of it. Yeah. We'll let the man speak for himself. And here we go.
The world can proclaim LGBTQ. right? They proclaim Pride Month in the NBA. They proclaim it. They show it to the world. They say, come join us for Pride Month, to celebrate unrighteousness. They proclaim it. They proclaim it on the billboards. They proclaim it in the streets. Unrighteousness. So how is it that one can't speak righteousness? How is it one that how are they to say that man, this man is crazy? I'm not the Jay I used to be, but the old Jay is dead. I'm alive in Christ. No matter what the basketball setting is, I'm born again, the Holy Spirit. I've been saved by Jesus Christ. No matter what, how many DMPs I don't get to play, or no matter how many points I score, those things are a temporary thing.
All right, I love this man. So
he'll have a gig with AIA. I remember watching those guys play.
And then we had this individual here, Trayvon Henderson, footballer, coming out and supporting a Chicago Bulls player. And I don't watch the NBA or anything, but anyway, a tremendous statement of faith on the part of this athlete. Boy, kudos to him. But it speaks to larger issues, Blake, about freedom of religion, Christianity under fire. We know that Nigeria is, we just had Palm Sunday. Easter is looming ahead for us. Really the most important Christian date. Christmas is wonderful. The birth, the arrival of the Messiah to earth, Emmanuel, God with us. But that's the sacrificial death of Christ on the cross and his resurrection, his death, burial, resurrection as the, pardon the pun, crux of our faith. Mm-hmm. So here's this brave man standing out, and he's been waived by the Bulls. Now, I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I believe it's like, we're not going to hire you again. Like we're waiving your contract. You're gone. So they are using economic pressure to punish this guy for having views completely consistent with the Christian gospel, but not consistent with a godless, sectarian, secular society. Yeah. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, as a Christian, it's an abhorrent what's happening to him, but that's expected, right? We know in our faith, we get persecuted for our belief. He's being persecuted because of his belief. And unfortunately, for the Bulls, they could be setting themselves up. But the problem is the NBA is run by the globalists, the corporations that have been fighting Trump the whole time. It's the same gang worldwide. They've got their billions and trillions invested in all these. They're run by activists, unionists who have invested through their trillion-dollar asset management companies. So, and China is heavily involved in the background of a lot of those. So nobody was allowed to speak up against China in the NBA, to the point they had their top player at the time, protecting China. And even though they were,
LeBron, wasn't that
LeBron James? Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, this guy showed up that he's just nothing more than a Xi Jinping stooge for the NBA. And it's not just the NBA. I mean, it's all major league sports have been under this a corporate umbrella, part of this globalist attack on you, the individual, and your rights and your freedoms, because there's a very simple answer to this. And
I've said this to many people. I sure hope that guy gets the Medal of Freedom when it comes time, when they do the routine with that. Bring that basketball player. Give him
there you go, Trump, if you're listening.
There's a hero. There's an American hero. That young kid on the basketball court. Attaboy. Sorry, Blake, to interrupt.
That's a good point.
That's fired up.
Get him there right next to Don Cherry. They both deserve it.
Yeah, the late, well, he's not gone yet, but he's getting a little slower. His son was saying, I watched the program
He's in his
just
middle
recently.
90s now. He's up there. But I just wanted to say, you have one pride flag, and everybody has it. It's called, if you're in America, it's your American flag. That represents everybody who's an American citizen. If you're in Canada, what's supposed to represent you is your Canadian flag. If you're from the United Kingdom, then it's your flag. If you're from France, it's your flag. All the other stuff is a psyop to destroy your patriotism, turn patriots into enemies of the state. This is fascism, folks. This is what's rolling in with the Marxists together, because they always work together. Fascism, socialism, communism, all
it's
the
so
one
bad
thing.
that in Canada, this young athlete under Bill C9 could face criminal prosecution.
And we already know they were saying that, well, we're not going to, if you read the Bible, there's passages in there that, of course, are highly contentious to, you would say, to gay people or anybody who has a sexual preference that falls out, like having sex with animals. The Bible's pretty strong on that one too. But but this is the point. You're allowed to do what you want as long as you're an adult. You can make a decision. This idea that you can change the sex of children, you can hide it under this flag. I mean, everywhere you go now, all of our elementary schools got pride flags all in the windows, and it was well noted. And the people that you saw at that NDP convention, that's your school teachers, folks. That's the people running and working in your government. Those are the people that are in power and never leave. If you wanted to do it, I saw one guy make a great point. If you want to protect people and you want to make them prideful over your country, start off by, everybody's got a pronoun in their signature. Fire them all. Boom. Gone. Just wipe them all out. You're done. You're out. The whole thing. Start all over again. Get those freaks out of here. Now, some of them are forced to do it. We understand that because it's a corporate or government regulation that you have to do that.
Really? So they've made it where you have no choice. You got to go.
Oh yeah,
she, her, they, they, and all this bullshit.
Yeah, and the big corporations that are tied to the government, they're required. They'll tell you they have to put that in there.
Oh, that's criminal. That's horrible.
It's compulsion and it's forced. But this is the point. That was the point. This was all part of the Great Reset plan, right? Because you can't have patriots fighting back who believe in their country, love their nation. And this goes back to the Frankfurt School of Thought, which moved to New York. It was a bunch of communists who left Nazi Germany and were moved to London.
They're nothing but trouble.
But this was the argument. Do we take over, have a communist revolution by force? Because Lenin's version failed. But how do we do it? It was the cultural revolutionaries that said that's how we do it. We got to educate, we got to change people over time. We got to get rid of pride over nationalistic pride. They had to get rid of your belief in your faith communities, your churches, if you're a practicing Jew as well, you would also believe in those principles as well. So any of those kind of beliefs had to be erased because there was a connection to your nation, to your church, to your family. All of that, and of course to your God. So that was the whole thing, the whole point that they needed to destroy. And they've been doing it for 75, 80 years now, marching throughout your universities, slowly eroding that fabric, bringing in this Mao-style cultural revolution. And this is the problem. So pride is in your flag of your country, because that's a unified. I always say, I'm a Christian, but you know what? If you're gay and you want to go get married, go do it. That's up to you. I am the one who I penned an article that went to the National Post back in the 1990s. It was about early 2000s. And they actually agreed with me that they did an editorial. I said, marriage should not be anywhere controlled by the state. Why do you need a license to go get married? You shouldn't need the state approval for you to get married. That is something between you and the person you're married and wherever you want to go. So if you can't force people to be compelled to agree to what you are, but you can associate yourself in your own organizations that would allow that. Right.
And it's
so go create your own.
Recognize and especially for you Christian folks, evaluate your church and make sure that it has not fallen into apostasy. So one of the stories running around right now, the Roman Catholic Church in the Vatican has actually got a Muslim prayer room. Ladies and gentlemen, that is apostasy. There's no way to split it. The Roman Catholic Church is in error, in spiritual error, to do that. If you've got a transgender pastor that's advocating that as a legitimate expression of human sexuality in the pulpit, from the pulpit in your church, that's apostasy, folks. So, here I am as a little tranny myself. So, I know what I'm talking about. It's apostasy, it's error, and it needs to be called out as such.
But when it comes to life, though, when it comes to living your life, I mean, the idea, just because we're Christians and we have strong beliefs on what works and what doesn't work, because we're told this.
Yeah.
Right. There's a reason for that. It's wisdom that's come through the ages that God has taught people. Say, hey, if you do this, you sow the wind, reap the whirlwind. That goes any direction. So if so essentially,
that's a Bible way of saying fuck around, you'll find
out. Right. Either way, though, if you work hard doing the right things, there is a reward potentially from that too. And that's just even like if you look after yourself, eat right, do all that stuff, your body's going to be healthier, correct? Yes. But if you inveigle yourself into sin and do stuff deliberately, there's a cost to that, right? The wages of sin is death. Your body's going to suffer. But there's even a life experience changes where you make bad decisions. You knew it was contrary to what we've all done it. We've made bad mistakes and we've paid the price. And God says, yep, that's sow the wind, reap the whirlwind.
Yeah.
You could have went that way, but you deliberately went that way.
I'm so sorry.
But I think that's the point. I had a great talk with a guy years ago. He was a good guy I met. He was a Republican in the sense of for Canada. He wanted Canada to become a constitutional republic, which I believe today. See the flag back there. He actually helped with that. He wasn't the writer, but he was a guy. He was a mining guy. He was a Jewish guy too. Super cool. He was libertarian, pretty hardcore. But we had a great discussion. And I said in the end, you know what? I said Jesus was actually kind of libertarian. Because Jesus was like, what is freely given is freely received. You want to receive that gift. It is free for you to accept. There's no force. There's no gun to your head except you already have been judged already. You have sin. You are judged. You are going to die. There is no escape from that. And this is your only escape hatch. But he's not going to stop you from going out and living your life. Just go do it. He just says there's rules to life. There's things that are going to happen to you from decisions you make. And if you go that way or go that way, things are going to happen. But that's your choice, right? Go do that. But I'm telling you, this is the better way, right? Yeah. So that's the point. But the problem is, I think when we talk about getting back to your point about the churches, know where you're at and know who you're listening to and who are your leaders in that area. You got to really follow your spirit because. And
I support your pastor in this. The Bible spells the Apostle Paul, the early church. They went out from us because they were not of us. So don't worry about it. Shake the tree. That's all right. You let them go there. I'm sure there's a fine Methodist church they can all go to that will accommodate their unequal yokeness to the, hi, I'm pastor, they, them in my rainbow vestry. So there's enough of that going on. We just call it apostasy. So.
But we're not here to hide from the world. We're not here to bury ourselves into an enclave somewhere and not do business or talk to or be friendly with people that don't believe what we believe or even have alternative lifestyles. It's just we can't support it spiritually. We're going to say that there's a better way. But you know what? I'm not going to take a government regulation and I'm not going to make you forced to change your behavior.
Yeah, I'm not going to go out of my way to fetishize your sin over mine, or this is a bad one. And as Christians, we tend to do that. But in fairness to, the political right in this regard, when the left do get around and it's a flag, the rainbow flag or the color or whatever, and it becomes kind of an organized, a visible, a symbolic, recognizable, then yeah, definitely you can speak out against that. You're probably, in fact, you should speak out against it.
Exactly.
I think
a lot of gays, I've seen gay people standing up against it. They don't even want to be part of the whole alphabet because they say that's not us. That's not what we fought for. And this is what
we
you're
have.
seeing.
We have in Trump's administration, there's a number of gay, high profile gay people. Yeah, I think Bassett, his financial guy, is gay.
Yeah,
and I think his ambassador to Israel, he was also gay, and different people. Grinnell, I think, is his name.
And you know what? As we said, like if somebody wants to be trans or somebody wants to, make an adult decision to do that. And I say that, emphasize adult, leave the children alone. What's happening to children is a crime. It is a criminal act and should be treated as such. When you're taking a 12-year-old kid or 8-year-old kid and you're pumping them through hormones and you're trying to change them because some flaky liberal parent thinks it's a good idea or the school thinks it's a good idea.
Yeah, there's a lot of science that'll back you up saying that's probably not the best.
It's a child, and it's child abuse. So leave it to as an adult.
We're on YouTube. We're not doctors. Go talk to a good doctor. Be careful who you follow. Make sure you got a good doctor too.
A real one, yeah, not these ones that are. And sadly, BC, we're getting a whole bunch of bad ones, but that's another story and another show.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on that note, I want to thank Blake for helping us out as always. He's a great partner to do this stuff with. Not that kind of partner, you sick bastards. All right. Anyway, we're going to be back on Friday with another Rip Roaring show. Good things are happening.
It's Good Friday.
Iran. Yeah.
It's
Good Friday. Yeah. Good Friday. So, thank you, Jesus. All right, everybody. I want to thank everybody. Great audience today. We love you, kids. And thanks for adding to the commentary and getting your thoughts posted here. We really appreciate it. I'm going to be back at 4:00 Pacific with my public show and my music show. Where we do music. Look at that headstock for a
nice
Fender guitar.
Here, let's start playing.
Yeah, we'll rock.
I'll grab my acoustic. Right. Here we go.
Oh boy, yeah. All right, it goes on and on. All right, everybody, we love you. Take care. Thanks so much. Bye for now. Poof.